West Las Vegas Review-Journal. Bruce, you're halfway through the playoffs with this group. I guess what's the biggest thing you've learned about them through 2 rounds?
Good composure, I think. Mindset has been good coming out of losses. That's where you find out about your group, right? Like, how do you respond? So I think that's what we found out. The games we've not been at our best, we've self-corrected in a hurry. Obviously, we have to do our part as a staff, but I think the players in general recognize that, get back to what works for us. So they've been through the playoffs before, a lot of them. So that's probably the biggest reason why they've been there and done it, know that that's what's required.
Dan Rosen, NHL.com. Bruce, what's different? This might seem like a loaded question, but what's different about this team with Mark Stone now back in the lineup, and what he can bring?
Well, I mean, we won games without Mark, and we kept playing, but I mean, he's an impact player, so that's what's different. The guy going in for him can give you some of it, but he's not giving you all of what Mark Stone brings. And I guess the biggest thing he brings is those plays he makes at crucial times, or just other guys don't have that. I don't want to say hockey IQ, because guys do have hockey. I don't know how to quite describe it. It's in the moment in time he makes plays that other guys can't, and we missed that part of it. Some guys can still go fill in and score a few goals or kill a penalty, but in general, and then the emotional lift when he does. I do believe when good things happen with Mark, there's like a noticeable, you see it, and I think it's infectious in the group. I think he makes Chandler Stevenson a better player as well, because there's just such a comfort level for both of them. So those are the things when he's in there. So not does he bring his game, but I think he elevates Chandler's and vice versa. So now you got 2 players that are moving up. And that's, to me, the biggest difference, what he does for us. Like I said, he just has a way of making other people around him better, and that's what the best ones usually do. So that's the irreplaceable part, I think, sometimes when you lose them.
Second row left.
Danny Webster, Las Vegas Sun. Bruce, talking about Jack, we've talked about his defense a lot this year. You've obviously been very complimentary of that side of the puck for him, but as far as when you look at what the Carlson line did and the Stevenson line did against Edmonton, was Jack's line probably underrated defensively through games 3 through 6, and is that an area that we probably aren't talking enough about?
I don't know what was I don't know what was written, honestly, about their entire game. Clearly Marsh made a difference offensively. He was coming. He was very close. He scored it in the playoffs and regular season. You would assume it was going to come. But Jack in general, his line's been good. I think whoever's played with all year good defensively, and part of that was Marcia So, and I think Cotter for a long period of time. Then Barbie came. So to me, his game's been good. And like I said, I can't remember what was. You'd have to fill me in on what was written or wasn't written about his game.
Nothing really written, just more so in general with the impact that Will's line had and Chandler's line had, but Jack's line defensively also making an impact.
Well, it did big time. And you think of Carly maybe more naturally in that role. Stevie did it with Washington for a Stanley Cup. So, yes, you're thinking, and maybe Jack gets overlooked in that area. And I'm not doing this to get a player on my side. I'm telling you what I saw in October as a guy that was committed to defense. It's what I saw, and I think people watch him close enough, they would agree with that the metrics back it up. It all backs it up. So here's a guy that's been invested since I've known him and coached him. What happened last year in Buffalo, I have no idea. I know what I see here, and he's a guy that wants to be a good 200-foot player and is. It's not like he doesn't do the right things. He does, and he values it. When you talk to him, he values it. So now sometimes if you can do it all you want, but if the D aren't getting it done or you don't get a save or your wingers, there's 5-6 pieces to good defense every time, every shift. So, and he's done his part, and I would trust him against anybody. How we match up sometimes depends on, can his wingers do the job against certain offensive defensemen? That there's farther things that go into it in a playoff series. And then you got to adjust accordingly. But I would have no problem having Jack out there against any centerman in the league or any line. He plays all the time in the last minute when the game's on the line. And I think, I've said that from day one, and he has to. If he wants to be that high-end player that wins, I think those things are required, out of center ice. And I think the best ones all have that in them. However they do it, they may do it differently, but they all have that mindset that they got to be able to play on both sides of the puck.
Ryan Clark, ESPN. Bruce, kind of staying along those lines. When you look at what you have with Jack, Chandler, and William, like everybody talks about how you win in this league and how you have to have that strength down the middle. Like, what's it like to have that across three lines, knowing that they all, while they have some similarities, they provide you something different that makes this group so versatile?
Well, we're forgetting a fourth line too, right? Nick Watt plays a big role in our success defensively, and Teddy Bluger, if we move Nick up. Our fourth line's been great for us to take some of those hard minutes away from. I mean, I don't think any centerman that has offensive ability too wants to spend his whole game checking somebody either. That's just part of what you have to do when you don't have the puck. So, and sometimes a face-off, you get to start fresh, and we've been able to use our fourth line against a lot of lines, so that saves them a little bit of wear and tear as well. But I just think that's why we're still playing, to be honest with you, because we can use all our lines against different people, and we still feel we'll have an advantage somewhere eventually on the offensive side of things too, because I think they're all can generate the way they've been paired off, like Smitty and Carly, Jack and Marsh, and Stevie and Stoney, right? We fit some pieces around them, but they're still all threats. So it's a tough matchup for us. It's a tough matchup for the other team's D. They got three lines that you can't just say our third pair is going to take this line, because we saw it last time from series to series. We don't know which one of those lines is going to be our best offensive line, and that's a bit of the beauty of our team right now, and again, why I think we're a good hockey club, because we don't rely on one line.
Steve Carp with the Sporting Tribune. What have you enjoyed the most about coaching this particular group? And given the success you've had, does it reinforce the beliefs that you had in yourself in being able to coach in this league after what happened in the end of Boston?
Oh, I've always had belief. I feel I coached well in Boston. I left nothing on the table there. That they felt it was time for a change, and that happens over and over and over and over again in this league. So what I've enjoyed about here is I came in not knowing any of these players. So now you're starting, sometime in Boston, I coached a lot of those guys in the minors, so I had a really good feel for what they were, and they had a feel for what I was, and so that helped me going into that situation. Here, I'm farther along in my career, so you're a little more comfortable in your own skin, so you can walk in and sort of, it's easier to sell how you want to play and convince the guys when you've done it before and seen it work. So I've enjoyed the fact that they've been receptive to it since day one. We have a veteran group that has opinions, and I respect their opinions and I solicit their opinions. But at the end of the day, I do believe that when the puck drops, we head out on the ice, our guys are all in terms of how we want to play. Doesn't mean we're going to get it accomplished every night. No, you've watched our team, we're imperfect, but we're still playing for a lot of those reasons. I think we have A, good players that want to play for one another, and B, I do believe it's a good group that respects how we're trying to play and what it takes to win. So that's the part that's been enjoyable for me.